It's time for the Extreme G3 review for the Gamecube. I'd never heard of this franchise before I picked this game up. From the case, it looked to be a bit like F-Zero on motorcycles, and after playing it, it sort of is, but let's get a bit more detailed. The game takes place in the future where racers compete against each other on high-speed bikes. When you first start, you get to choose which team you want to be on, then choose the racer you'd like to be. I haven't found that either teammate is better or worse, so I guess it's just flair. Each team actually has an elaborate story behind them, which is interesting, but I also feel it's unneeded. In tournament mode, you need to pass each cup with a certain amount of placement wins. You don't have to get first in every race, but enough good placements to make it to the next cup. When racing in the beginner cups, you only have 2 laps per track, which can actually make the game more difficult because you don't have a lot of time to catch up to first place, especially when you start in last place at the beginning of each race. While racing on the first lap, you'll come to a point on the track where your boost and weapons will become available for you to use. Using your boost will give you some serious speed, but at the cost of your HP. Your default weapon is a machine gun, and your ammo is displayed via a gauge at the bottom left corner of the screen. You can replenish your HP and ammo supply via green and purple strips along the track respectively. The problem I have with these is that there definitely aren't enough of them. There are more ammo resupply strips than health regen strips, about 3 to 1, so I have to be very careful with how much boost I use at what time. Once you complete a cup, you can use the money you won, which is based on which place you earned on each race, on upgrades for your vehicle. Many of them are new weapons like homing missiles and mines, but there's also an upgrade for your engine, as well as increasing your ammo and health tanks. You will absolutely need to purchase the engine upgrades and added health tanks if you want any chance at winning. When you win all cups in a tournament, you are given the chance to compete in higher level tournaments, which sounds fun, right? Well, not exactly, at least for me. Notice anything different to this track as to, suppose, this track? Nothing. The higher level tournaments have the same cups, meaning the same tracks. The only things different are the difficulty is higher and the amount of laps. In the second tournament, 1 additional lap was added to make it 3. I mean, come on, why can't it be new tracks? There's 2 multiplayer modes, Co-op Campaign and Versus. Co-op Campaign is much more fun as you and a friend work together to compete against the computer. Versus is okay as you get to choose up to 4 weapons and items you want to use up front. For being a game near the Gamecube's launch, the graphics don't look half bad. Some backgrounds look a bit bland, but some look fairly impressive. The controls can take a bit to fully get the hang of, but it doesn't take long. The main thing that's difficult is strafing on curves. Other than that, accelerating, boosting, and using your weapons are very simple. It's especially cool when you've upgraded your engine enough and while using your boost enough, you can, from what it looks like, break the sound barrier. Just watch and listen. Isn't that awesome? Be careful though, as more speed means making those difficult turns even more of a challenge. Don't go into this game expecting an easy race. Getting first place on each track, especially in the later cups, can be extremely difficult. The biggest problem, as I've said before, is because there aren't enough health regen strips per track. Many of them are near the beginning of the track, which doesn't help you on your first lap. You really need to think strategically and perform boosts only when necessary. The sound design needs work. I boosted the music all the way up and brought the sound effects down to 50%, and you still couldn't hear the background music much on most stages. Extreme G3 is a fun, exciting racer that needs a few adjustments to make it great. Pretty good graphics, good controls, many different weapons and items to choose from, playing co-op adds a lot of fun, and the game really makes you think strategically on when to use your boost. However, there definitely aren't enough health regen strips on each track. The difficulty can be just brutal on some tracks, the music was too low, and the controls, while good for the most part, are a bit too touchy for my comfort. Overall though, this is a good racer that you should check out if you enjoy the F-Zero franchise. While not as good as F-Zero, you'll still get hours of high-speed fun out of it. This game gets a 3.75 out of 5 with the title of good.
He's on a 350-yard hole, using his favorite driver with 2 sand traps to the left and a water hazard to the right. He needs at least a birdie on this hole to keep the lead, and you can tell he wants to get this correct.
Oh, this is a very tense moment.
So easy.
If you make this, I hate you.
Let me win.
Boo! Boo! Boo!